you guys enjoy your whatever that is.
All right. Test. Very good. Well, this weekend, guys, so we're shooting this on Thursday, April the 10th. And on April the 12th, so this weekend, Saturday, Dave Letterman will turn 78 years of age. So certainly Late Night with David Letterman was on for several years. It went from NBC to CBS. But man, many years watching the Late Night with David Letterman or the David Letterman show. So many good memories, so many good moments, so many recurring bits on that show. So I thought to honor Dave Letterman on our Ask an Idiot question, this didn't have to be one singular thing. Give me a couple or whatever of some of your favorite Dave Letterman show moments or recurring bits that he did on the show throughout the years. I know, Nick, now obviously you're younger. You may not have watched it as much as Dean and I. I know Dean and I certainly watched more of it. So why don't we start with you, Nick? Any Dave Letterman? I mean, you watched it off and on, a little bit here and there. Any or not so much? Gen X Brian here from the Convincing Idiots podcast. If you're enjoying our show, tell a friend. And if you're not, well, tell two enemies.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch him as much. Like for me, I think we've had similar conversations on past episodes, but Conan was the big one for me, which David Letterman was a direct inspiration to Conan for. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the things that he did, Conan definitely borrowed from or learned from. But the main thing I remember about David Letterman was his listicles, like his lists, that he would do different things, his top 10 lists. And those were always very funny. And the main thing that I really enjoyed about the Letterman
we might do kind of a ripoff.
I was going to say, I mean, in some ways, perhaps he inspired what would we do. But one of my favorite things about the David Letterman show is at the time when he was, I guess, maybe a little less mainstream. And I don't mean as like that he wasn't as popular, but like he didn't look for mainstream popularity or wasn't as cookie cutter or as shiny or whatever that maybe the Tonight Show was. And for example, musical guests was a big thing for me. David Letterman always had bands. He would have more of some of the like alternative bands from the 90s and grunge bands, and he had Pearl Jam on often. He was a big fan of theirs and they were good friends with him. I liked that he branched out of whatever was maybe top 40 pop music of the day. He had different acts and had a little more outside of the box musical guests, which I always really appreciated. And Conan, like I said, just kind of followed along with that too. I always liked that a lot about his show as well. But that's probably my favorite thing that I feel like David Letterman was doing differently at the time. He was a little more outside of the box. And his comedy was even a little more offbeat, a little more zany and less like joke. Like it. He was just kind of goofy and
his personality
and just different.
Was a joke.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Dean, how about you?
So I was a fan of Letterman. He was my nighttime watching in high school.
Yeah.
I would lay in bed. I would go. I would at least watch the monologue and then the first bit and top 10. And then go to bed depending on the guest. Letterman was such a huge influence on me throughout my formative years, high school years. If you're talking about like iconic moments, I mean, you can pinpoint what was Drew Barrymore flashing him, standing on the desk. You could, like Nick said, any of the top 10s were fantastic. Shit he'd throw off of the roof, like watermelons and shit.
Yes. Yep.
Talking to the next door deli guy.
Yeah, those two
Dude,
guys over there. Yeah, yep.
it was just so absurd and random. It was just it hit my sensibility in comedy at that time. Well, I mean, at that time, even today, it's still fucking fantastic. He still does a great job. I don't know if that his other interview show.
Well,
Is still
Oh,
Netflix.
my next
Yeah,
guest.
next guest.
Needs no introduction. My next guest needs no introduction.
That's
Right.
it. Yeah.
He's a great interviewer. He's a great personality. His aura is comedy. You know what I mean? He could look at the camera and give a look, and it breaks the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he didn't need to say anything, but when he did, it's comedic gold. But if I'm going to pick one iconic moment, I'm gonna go Jerry Lawler.
Yes.
Getting slapped by Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
If I don't know if you're familiar, but Andy Kaufman was on Taxi. He was a famous comedian. He was on the first Saturday Night Live. And he was very, if you've seen the movie Man on the Moon with Jim Carrey, Andy Kaufman was very into his performance. And for a while there in the 80s, he was fighting women in wrestling down in Memphis. And Jerry Lawler was the promoter and star down in Memphis. Again, you might know Jerry Lawler from 1990s commentary for Monday Night Raw.
The King.
For WWE, King, Jerry Lawler.
Mm-hmm.
But they brought it on to Letterman, and they were having an argument, and they come back from commercial break, and Lawler, has Kaufman slap him. No, vice versa. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He slaps Kaufman and out of the chair, and nobody knew that was going to happen. And it became this whole thing, just such not just for Letterman, but when you go through and watch these iconic moments in television history, that is on that list.
Mm.
And Letterman had the balls to bring professional wrestling and this eccentric comic merging together onto his show, and that's what Letterman was.
Yeah,
Letterman was pushing boundaries of comedy and entertainment. So, yeah, that to me is the pinnacle of what David Letterman brought to television.
No, that's good. Yeah, with him, one thing I have fond memories of is my dad, honestly. So just that was something where no, but it was one of those things. Dad and I shared was our enjoyment of Dave Letterman. So many episodes. I would sit up late. That was a big deal. A young kid and young teen hanging out with dad, and it's mom goes to bed. It's just me and dad hanging out and watching Letterman, and you're up late.
Yep.
And laughing at Dave Letterman. That was a mutual interest that we had. So that definitely, when I think about Dave Letterman, that's one thing I think of is those times with my dad. But as far as Dave himself, those earlier years, all those bits he did was just so good. Like you said, I love this stuff dropping off the building, just so ridiculous. It was just funny. I remember him dropping a Wile E. Coyote stuff, off the building, and just seeing it. They filmed it dry. Right. It's just so goofy that he put stuff on the railway and had a steam engine crush things. He put a Superman statue out there once, and it just drove a locomotive through it. Just dumb stuff like that. That he got into stupid pet tricks,
right?
And stupid human tricks.
Yeah,
he had that guy from the Columbus Zoo. He'd have on there all the time, bringing all the animals in there. He was such a great guest there. The Crispin Glover weird appearance where he almost kicked Dave in the face. It just, if you haven't seen that, check that out on YouTube. Crispin Glover is clearly on something, and he gets up and
maybe it's just that fucking weird.
I don't know, maybe, but like you said, the Lawler thing was great. Just so many great memories over the years with him, and he definitely evolved his comedy and refined his interviewing skills, like you said. over time, all the late night wars with Leno and everything. But I always was a Letterman guy over Leno. I always appreciated his style and everything like that. So anyway, so thank you, Dave, for many good years of television, and happy birthday from the Convincing Idiots podcast. Thank you very much.
Happy birthday,
That's right.
Dave.
Happy birthday.
Yes, indeed. Many more. Everybody, Gen X Brian with Millennial Nick and Zennial Dean. We need more people besides Nick's mom watching us. Give us a like and subscribe.
Ham grape.
Mm.
Alex Ovechkin, hockey player, achieves a milestone in record. We'll tell you all about that. The great David Letterman birthday is. I'm really fucking this up. Let me try that again. Sorry, the Alex Ovechkin's really fucked me up.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
blame it on the
So
all-time
hard.
leading goal scorer. It's his fault.